You are watching the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, James Yoder. We're going to talk some Michigan football news, talk some recruiting. There's a little out there, but this is the second signing day. It's not as exciting as I think the December one has become. And then over the last day or so, there's been a lot of new transfer portal rumors, and there's one name in particular that I am wildly excited about. If Michigan can close the deal, there's a lot of academic things that might be in play here that I'll kind of elaborate on in a moment, but that is the word. Now, I want to start the show by getting to know you guys a little bit more. I've told you this in the past. I became a Michigan football fan, I think, at least the best of my memory. 1991 is the season I remember, right? I'm not going to tell you how old I was there. I was a wee boy. I'd been to a game or two before that. Dad had been a season ticket holder. And was kind of raised on Michigan football. But 1991, I remember the Desmond Howard Notre Dame game. I remember watching the Heisman Trophy ceremony at the house, all that stuff. So that's my year. That'll be like 30, 31 years. But I want to know from you guys, what year did you become a Michigan football fan? Case and Scott, right around the corner, 2016, good year from a winning perspective, kind of a disappointing. And then I like this comment, though, from Sean Paul Anthony. He says, James is our douche. He keeps the scene alive. Boot the haters. I like that. Did someone call me a douche above that? But I appreciate people. If you're going to call me a douche, at least I am your douche. At least I'm the Michigan football douche, if that is the sentiment out there. 1976 in Florida Gators, Mitch Kappas. 1977, Tim Baker. 1989, right, the final year of Bo Schembechler era. Stanley Pollock, 1963. Bill Graves, 1983. Randy Faust, also 1983. All right, let's take a look at the Matt Weiss criminal investigation. So, what do we know? I don't know what you guys, maybe you're not in the same position or kind of like just, when you're on a show and you get a decent audience here and there, sometimes people will reach out to you, people you've never even talked to, parents of players and stuff like that. And I've gotten an inbound on this over the last week. Some people are mad at me that I speculated because something really bad. Appreciate that. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit too much. But I am still very interested because I've heard two very different sides of what it could be. I don't know how this plays out. I would think if it's a criminal case, these things are public knowledge. Now, I'm not going to take my time and resources at this point to try and find out and do a FOIA request and try and get the police department to send me files. There's local media right there. The Detroit Free Press can do that. But I am just very interested because when this first came out last Tuesday, it seemed like, okay, we're going to suspend him for just, while the investigation's going on. And then, it's not that big of a deal. It wasn't anything terrible. But then a couple days later, they fire him. So it had to be something bad enough to be instantly fired. And I'm really curious what it is. And I think that's going to be one of the bigger, intriguing storylines that we're going to talk about here over the next month. Just what the hell he did, and if it was bad enough to be fired, and if he has a coaching career at all, whether it's not Michigan, obviously, but anywhere else in college football or the pros. I am just very intrigued of what becomes of Matt Weiss. Let's talk about transfer portal. How about this story? Davison Igbinosun. That's pretty good for me. Out of the state of New Jersey. How the hell did he end up down at Ole Miss? Well, he had a relationship going back years, at least his high school coaching staff and stuff. He knew of Chris Partridge, right? That was the lure. Chris Partridge, high school football coaching legend, Rashawn Gary and others, Jabril Peppers, etc., in New Jersey, came to Michigan as like a staffer 1 year, recruiting coordinator, then became a coach, right? Special teams coordinator was there. I think it was linebackers or secondary the 1 year as well. But moved on. Was recruited by SEC teams, ultimately landed the last couple of years at Ole Miss, was their defensive coordinator this past year. Prior to that, he was co-DC with another Michigan name, DJ Durkin, who's now at Texas A&M. Under the radar, Chris Partridge was fired a couple weeks ago, 10 days ago, like the 15th, but it's really been underreported because they haven't put out a press release or anything like that. It's just saying, hey, we've got our new DC, Pete Golding, the Alabama DC, who kind of got fired in his own right. Chris, go find yourself another job. So he's not actually with the staff, not recruiting, but he hasn't officially been fired. I think it's one of these situations, Michigan's done it in the past, where we'll announce you're firing when you have a new job, trying to save face that you actually got fired. So thinking about Chris Partridge, if he helped land this first-team freshman All-American, at least according to collegefootballnews.com. They've been around for a while. They do a pretty good job. Could Chris Partridge, whether he comes back to Michigan or not, and I'm not speculating that he would, but if this player is interested in Michigan, say, hey, look, I coached with Jim Harbaugh. I know the Michigan program. Go there. Go get academics involved. Go, kind of see how things shake out with Michigan, because there are schools that are looking into him. Very productive player, right? Played in 13 games. All 13 games as a true freshman at the cornerback position for Ole Miss this past year. 10 starts, right? And those are sometimes inflated starts because, he wasn't always the second best corner, nickel, or he was in there for a play here and there at the beginning of the game that counted as a start. But nevertheless, freshman All-American, or up there with, of course, who? Will Johnson, 5 pass pickups, 35 tackles. Folks, I think that Michigan's only area of weakness that I can really decipher right now is the second cornerback slot. You don't want to move Mike Sainer still there. He's found his niche at the nickel. You could even say defensive end, but with Josiah Stewart coming over from Coastal Carolina, I think that Michigan has got that position locked up at defensive end. I think it might be the missing piece. Now, the one interesting takeaway on this is that Michigan's, class registration has ended for this spring semester, right? They go back to school earlier than other schools. So if he were to transfer to Michigan in the portal, he had to sit out this entire spring, right? Where he can transfer into other schools like Tennessee and others right now and be part of spring ball. So Michigan is up against it. They're really going to have to sell him Jay Harbaugh and some others on waiting that 3-4 months until April to come be part of this program once spring football is over. I think Michigan's going to give it a heck of a shot. I don't know actually if they will be able to land him, but I think he potentially could be the missing piece between losing the semifinals next year and winning the whole national championship. Folks, the Michigan Football Report is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 on a daily basis, and it has truly made a difference in my overall health and well-being. You can get comprehensive, convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I started taking AG1 in the morning as part of my daily routine, and it's become a habit that I truly look forward to. Not only does it provide comprehensive health benefits, but it also makes me feel ready to take on the day. Whether I'm hitting the gym or just running errands, AG1 gives me the energy and focus I need to power through. In addition, AG1 is a great supplement for recovery, and it's a habit that I love to include before and after my workout. AG1 makes me feel like I am the same level as these Michigan football athletes that we all love to watch on Saturday afternoons, and inspires me to put in the work that they do as well. Covering my nutritional bases for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Done. It also costs less than $3 a day. Pretty good if you ask me. It's really effective daily habit with the highest quality source ingredients. Win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, folks, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to the link you see there at the bottom of the screen. It's athleticgreens.com/chatsports, athleticgreens.com/chatsports. It's down in the description of today's video. We'll put it in the live chat here in a moment as well. You get the free 5 travel packs and the 1-year supply of vitamin D, and you get it in this amazing package as well. I've been loving Athletic Greens. Not a big breakfast guy, but they have kind of turned me on to nutrition in the morning. You get the package, right? You get the awesome mixer, and this bottle is amazing. I've been chugging out of there. This isn't mine, though. Mine's at home. You got to refrigerate it. That is Athletic Greens. Get going with them. athleticgreens.com/chatsports. All right, folks, in a moment, we're going to talk on Jim Harbaugh's future contract gate. Is Michigan kind of keeping him on ice while this NCAA investigation goes on? We're going to tell you about that here in just a moment. But before we do, want to give some props to Jim Harbaugh, the ultimate troll, because this photo made the round Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever it was, hosting some different recruits in at Schembeckler Hall at his office. I want to remind myself who that photo was with. It was with Brian Robinson, who is a defensive lineman out of the state of Ohio. Okay, cool. So they're taking a picture in Harbaugh's living room area of his big office. Let's zoom in on that, Jack. Can we zoom in on that? Take a look at that right there. Now, we cropped the photo and completely reversed it. I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's enhanced it. It says everything, what does it say? I'm squinting there, Jack. Everything great about Ohio State. And could you imagine what the contents of that book is, right? What does Jim Harbaugh want? He wants to recruit, high school coach, parents recruit to sit down. Ooh, everything great about Ohio State, your rival. Let's open it up. Blank pages. It's an empty book. What a troll job by Jim Harbaugh. I love it. I want to make sure you guys saw that. That's been out on the internet for a couple days now, but a wonderful troll job by Jim Harbaugh, and nobody does it better sometimes than him with handling the media and handling just his approach with Ohio State, at least over the last couple years. All right, guys, let me know if you've subscribed to our YouTube channel yet. I'll give a couple of shout-outs to the people typing Y if you have subscribed in the live chat. If you're watching this on Thursday night or Wednesday night or Thursday morning, go ahead and type Y. I'll make sure I go to reply to a couple dozen of those, thanking you. And, like we said before, if you enjoy the show and you type Y, go ahead and recommend it. YouTube.com/Michigan TV. Send it out to your friends. I'm going to give a couple of live shout-outs. Case and Scott, Mitch Kappas, Josh Sherwood, all given the Ys. Tim Baker with a Y, go blue, and Bosa, Brad LaCharelle is a Y. Go ahead and get your Ys in there in the comments. One more time, I'm going to tell you guys about our college football playoff time frame super chat leaders. We should just change that to, that's bringing up bad blood, Jack. I got to take a drink because of that one. These are the folks who have super chatted the most since mid to late November when we started our super chat tracking. John Blaze, Wolverine Alaska, Blue Wolverine, Cool Moti, Shane Johnson, Cody Mumford, Rick Harford, Dan Fair, John Crandall, and today's $50 super chat extraordinaire, D Cap. That is the top 10. Those folks are going to get a big placement on our end screen coming up here after February 1st. Let's talk Jim Harbaugh and his new contract. I told you that a week or so ago, there's a little talk of a handshake deal. Hey, I know what you're looking for, Jim. I know what we need to get there. Let's just kind of move forward. I have you looking for NFL jobs. But no movement since last week, since the coordinated message, 9 days ago or so, with Jim Harbaugh and Santa Ono. Sources have told me, what's the holdup? Jim Harbaugh's hired a lawyer, right, to represent him with the NCAA. And Michigan may just want to conclude that NCAA investigation first. Now, the question I'm asking is, will no contract for Jim Harbaugh, or no new contract, no extension, Tennessee's coach just got an extension, will it continue to hurt with recruiting like it did kind of last year, but it really hurt with this 2023 recruiting class? And what is Jim Harbaugh looking for, right? I think an appropriate salary. I don't think he needs to break the bank and go $15 or $20 million a year, but I would say he made 10 with incentives this year. I think he kind of wants to make 10 without incentives. Maybe he makes 11 or 12 up there. There's been talk that what Michigan is basically guaranteed him in some regards is, hey, going forward, we'll take the average of the top 5 other coaches in college football. Let's just say it's $13.1 million. That's your salary. We'll make it right at the end of the year. Okay, cool. Aggressive and innovative NIL approach, right? Two things to talk about here. Michigan did it recently with the One More Year Fund. Got Blake Corum, Zach Zinter, at least some money to come back. There's talk that Michigan and a major talent agency will sign an NIL deal. Will make it easier for companies to work with Michigan football athletes. And Stephen Ross, Miami Dolphins owner, a lot of chatter out there that he's kind of part of several high net worth individuals who are trying to put some sort of salary to every Michigan football player where they make, hey, guaranteed $20, $25, $30, $40,000 per year if you were on scholarship. That's what Jim Harbaugh is looking for, in addition to more support staff for recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal, plus bigger budget to keep your top assistant coaches. Now, I don't think there's any reason Michigan's got to wait, right? What is the point for Michigan to wait if they think they know what happens, right? The only reason to wait is if you think yourself that Jim Harbaugh is not just lying to the NCAA, that he's lying to you about what happened, and you're not going to support him in what happens. Because you can write clauses in any contract, right? I've read plenty of contracts in my day. You could say, if Michigan is hit with X, Y, or Z, level 1 sanctions, Jim Harbaugh suspended for more than 6 games, whatever it is, here's what happens. Suspended for more than 6 games. Okay, cool. You take a pay cut that year. Or level 1 sanctions, this, that. Okay, we reduce something. It's very easy, so I'm not sure why Michigan needs to wait for it, but that seems to be what is happening because it's been 25 days since Michigan's season ended, and it's been 2 months now since Michigan beat Ohio State again, and I think Jim Harbaugh does deserve a contract that pays him in line with his accomplishments, at least over the last 2 years. You're going to cut his salary after 2-4 season. It was valid. You got to increase it after a 25 and 1 back-to-back regular seasons for this team. Did I say beat Ohio State again in 2 months? Make sure we're typing the Bosas. We're not forgetting about Bosa, guys. Beat Ohio State again. It feels so good. It's been nearly 4 years, 3.5 years since Michigan lost to Ohio State, since Ohio State beat Michigan in November of 2019. And it's going to be a long year for Ohio State, especially if they lose again. I think Ryan Day's on the hot seat potentially and might lose his job if they lose in Ann Arbor on 10 months from today, actually, Jack. 10 months from today, November 25th. So keep the Bosas going. Low rent, Jacksonville Zoe, a hard act guy, Jeff Rua, my guy, I haven't seen you in a bit, Bill Graves, Tim Baker. But here's the new battle cry. Bosa's not changing. Bosa's not changing. saw this on some recruiting materials over the weekend, and Jack and I were talking about it with our shirts. Right, we've got the 2023 shirts. It says LA on it for the CFP. We're crossing it off. We're putting Houston, 3-hour drive from where we're at. This is the new battle cry. I might just make T-shirts, right? Maybe we got the Don T-shirt. We should just make one, Jack. And it's the same exact T-shirt that says 23, right? 23 here. And instead of the Don, it just says Houston or bust right there. That might be the next shirt. Houston or bust. That's the new Bosa. Maybe we just go HOB, Hob. That could be the Hob. We're going to Hob it. We're hobnobbing with Bosa. It's the new battle cry. Bosa's not going away. It's got to be the number one focus. But back-to-back semifinal losses. Unbelievable one against TCU. The national championship game in Houston next January. That has got to be the absolute focus of this program. We are on Flip Watch. Cameron Brandt was visiting Michigan over the weekend, and he's been committed to Stanford for about 6 months or so since July. The LA area 3-star defensive lineman visited Michigan over the weekend, and his decision is going to come in the next few days. If not, if he announced it, he said he needed a couple days to think about it. Academics will really drive it. Committed to Stanford, and if you guys don't know, Stanford does not admit athletes into the school unless their credentials are better than the worst regular student, right? So if you wouldn't get in as a student, you're not getting in as an athlete. So clearly academics are a big part of him if he got accepted and was allowed to commit back to Stanford in July. That means he was kind of towards the top half of the class, given early enrollee or early admission standards. My guess is that he makes a decision in the next couple of days, maybe announce it or just announces on signing day. But I do think that he will flip to Michigan. Now, this is going to be pretty interesting to see kind of how it shakes out, right? Stanford's been in limbo. They just got a new head coach. They've been really struggling for about the last 3 or 4 years, although I do like David Shaw. I think he's done a decent job. That thing has just kind of fell off. It felt like a good time. If my son had a scholarship offer football to Stanford, I'd tell him to go to Stanford. But, that's just me. But we'll see how things shake out. There was some word that it could happen during this live show. So if you guys see, we're not be able to check things as easily while we're live here. If he does flip Cameron Brandt from Stanford to Michigan while we're live, just put it in the chat. But don't try and trick us, okay? Don't try and trick us. But let us know in the comments. We'll keep an eye on it, throughout this show. Well, we asked you guys just a few minutes ago, how likely are you to recommend this show to a friend? The live audience has already answered this, so really appreciate though. But if you're watching on demand Wednesday night or Thursday, let me know, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I wouldn't at all. This show kind of stinks. 10 would be absolutely. Anything between 8 and 10, we love that kind of feedback. Recommended the show to a friend. Send that link, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Subscribe now if you haven't. But if we're below an 8, tell us what we can do to improve that we can get that 8, 9, or 10 kind of like net promoter score is really what they call it. Seeing quite a few 10s, 9.25s from the Russian judge from Jacksonville. But let me know in the live chat and down in the comments.